this video, I'm going to be covering how we can find the inverse, the derivative of the inverse of cosine of x. All right. Basically, all right, since we do not know what this is or how we are going to differentiate this, we are going to have to change this into a form that we know how to differentiate. And basically, if we apply cosine on both sides, we're going to have cosine of y equals x, and we know what the derivative of cosine of y is. Basically, if we do that, if we derive with respect to x on both sides, we're going to end up with this. And basically from here, all right, the derivative of cosine of y is just negative sine of y dy dx. All right, we're deriving this implicitly, and the derivative of x is just 1. All right, and then from here we want to basically have dy dx on itself on one side of the equal sign. So basically we're going to divide both sides by negative sine y, and we're going to end up with negative 1 over sine y. All right, but then this answer doesn't help us, or at least this is not the final answer. From here, all right, we're going to basically use a trigonometric identity. All right, and the one we're going to use is basically sine squared of y plus cosine squared of y equals 1. And then in this case, we want to solve this equation for sine y. All right, so we're going to subtract cosine squared of y on both sides. All right, and we're going to end up with this. And then from here, we're going to square root both sides. All right, so we're going to end up with sine of y equals the square root of 1 minus cosine squared of y. All right, and then from here, basically, we're going to substitute this into this equation. So that will give us dy dx equals negative 1 all over the square root of 1 minus cosine squared of y. All right, and I'm going to change this into a form so that you guys, into a different form so that you guys can understand a little bit more where I'm going with this. So basically from here, all right, we're going to end up with dy dx equals negative 1 all over the square root of 1 minus cos y, or that squared, or cos y squared. All right, and then we know from the beginning of the equation, all right, that cos y equals x, so we're going to substitute that. So basically we're going to end up with dy dx being equals to negative 1 all over the square root of 1 minus x squared. Right, and that's your final answer. Basically any differentiation that you're given to solve where it includes a inverse of cosine, all right, this is going to be your general formula. If you're deriving with respect to x, all right, of cosine inverse of, let's say, a, that will be equals to negative a prime. All right, so that is the derivative of a divided by the square root of 1 minus a squared. All right, thank you.